So let's talk a little bit about some of the main vegetables that we cut over and over in the kitchen. There's some certain tips and tricks that make it a little bit easier to cut these things. First of all, let's talk about how to hold a knife. We're working here with the chef's knife. That again is the triangle knife. You want to hold it in your hand, and here's something that a lot of people are not very comfortable with, but I'm pinching the blade. You see on both sides, I'm pinching the blade. If I'm back here, it's fine, but the knife can be a little bit floppy doing this. If I choke up on the knife and I hold it here, what it does is it gives me actually a little bit of torque. Then I can move the knife back and forth, and I can make the nice clean cuts on it. So think about it. If you've cooked a little bit and you're not comfortable with this, it took me a while to adjust to this too, but I'll tell you, you'll be awfully glad you do this. If you can pinch this, it will give you more control, and it will also give you less hand fatigue. So try that. Try pinching the blade on both sides, you know, your pointer finger on one side and your thumb on the other. Try that as you cut. One of the first things we're going to cut is an onion, because we chop lots of onions in the kitchen. It just seems to be in every dish. So the onions, no matter whether they're a red, a yellow, or a white, all have this papery skin. This part grows under the ground, right? It's really a root vegetable onion. So we'll cut a red onion today. But we're going to take this papery skin off, and one thing we can do is we can start here and just cut that tip off, that root end. This isn't the root end, rather, the stem end. We're going to cut the stem end clean off. This is the root end here. You can see where the roots were. Okay, we're going to leave that in place just for a second. I'm going to just take a little bit of it off. Then I'm going to slice down the onion so that I can reach in here with my fingers and pull off all that paper and that outer layer. People say, well, you're wasting the onion. Don't peel off the outer layer of skin. But you know what? It's really fibrous, and it's really tough eating. It's not very good eating at all. So you're not going to lose anything by peeling off that first layer of skin and taking that papery skin off. And then what we have left is onion. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the onion in half. And when I do that, okay, it gives me a flat side to set the onion on. So when I have this flat side, it's not going to rock and roll on me. It's going to be much more stable for me to cut. Now, one of the first cuts that I think is fun to practice is we're going to bridge our fingers, right? If we have our fingers out here, have them in the way of the blade, we're going to be in the emergency room. You don't want to spend time in the emergency room. You want to spend time cooking. So we're going to bridge our fingers. That's, you put your fingers together, you sort of arch them a little bit. You can hold the item and hold it steady. We have our nice flat side there. Bridge our fingers. We're pinching our blade, and we're going to just slice down through. And we're going to slice what we call a half moon onion. You're going to slice that half moon. And one thing is, you notice I got my bridge, and take as much time as you need. If you have to figure this out, if you have to work really slowly, it's okay. It'll give you a little something to cry about. Instead of just forcing the knife through the item like that, I am slicing gently through. See? If I slice through, instead of forcing the item through, look at those nice cuts. Look how that works. So I'm slicing half of the onion, slicing into half moons, slicing my knife through, I'm pinching the blade, and we'll take one more cut here and do that. Okay, and see, this is what we call half moons, and this is also a nice, really nice size for a lot of cooking and a lot of dishes that we're going to do. We'll move those half moon onions off to the side. We're going to take the other half of the onion, the flat side of the onion, and we're going to show you how to do a dice on an onion. And one thing about dicing the onion is we're going to go in this way. I'm going to put one cut in there. Not all the way to the root end, but almost to the root end. I'm going to put another cut there. I'm going to put another cut there. We're going to do a little bit larger dice on this. Another cut there. I'm going to keep going. My fingers are still bridged. I have control of my knife blade. Cut through there. Then, once we have those cuts up and down done, we're going to go through and we're going to cut sideways. I've got a flat hand here, so I don't cut into my hand. And I'm going to cut a little ways in. Not all the way, though. A little ways in here. And maybe I can do one more, a little ways in here. Then, all I need to do to get some nice dice off of this onion now is, I'm going to just like we did the half moons, I'm going to slice through. And look at that nice dice that comes out. Really even, really nice, really beautiful cut without a lot of work. And that gives you a nice dice. If I want to go ahead and then mince the onion, I can take some of this dice and I can do rocking. You're going to set your flat hand like you had it on the onion, but you're going to set your flat hand on top of your blade, pinching the blade, and you're going to rock it back and forth. And we can make this as small and as fine as we want, as much as your eyes can stand. And mine are starting to water a little bit, but I cut plenty of onion so it doesn't stop me. But see, we can, once we get faster, start a little bit slower, but once you start rocking your knife back and forth, and again, this knife has a little bit of a curve to it, so it allows me to rock. Once I start doing that, then I can get a really nice, go different directions on it, and start getting a nice minced onion. And there are some dishes where this is nice. So we have our half moons, we have our dice, and we have our minced on the onions.